Minneapolis City.
Post goals! What about that?
The People's Pitch Podcast, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
What is up, my people? What is up, my people? It is that time again. It's time for the People's Pitch Podcast, the one and only podcast of your Minneapolis City SC. As always, I'm your gracious host, Nate, and I'm joined by my esteemed partner, a great soccer mind, John Bisworm. John, I'm bummed, man. I didn't get nominated for the Supreme Court. Maybe next time. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I got nominated for the Supreme Court, so it's kind of a good day.
Always one-upping me, man.
Kind of a good day for me. No, I'm doing good, man. Always a pleasure to tickle the airwaves with you.
The beard is looking fierce.
I had a good beard day today. I'm not gonna lie.
You're going full Yukon Cornelius.
Well, we did talk a little bit about the Oregon Trail last week, so I figured, might as well act like some sort of 1800s cross country gold rush, tour guide.
You definitely look like a survivalist. So, speaking of dudes with beards, we planned to have Dustin on this week, but I guess there were some scheduling issues, so we had to move him to next week. But still, tonight, we've got some flame emojis lined up for you. We're covering a bunch of stuff. First of all, of course, as always, we like to start with some general soccer talk. John watched the USA-Serbia game. Minnesota United versus New England was today, and there's some expansion filings that came through today. And then we're going to talk NPSL because that is our league, and we are number one, at least in a power ranking, a preseason power ranking. And then we've got another player joining us today, which is always exciting. We've got Miles on file. And then the final trial news, of course, where final trial is creeping up. We want to make sure the most people know about it and will come out to it. So, John, you watched USA versus Serbia this weekend. I did not, unfortunately. How did we look?
Well, first off, I'm going to fly through this because we didn't look too hot. So, Nate, on the weekend, like you said, USA took on Serbia in a friendly. Currently, they're taking part in their January camp. And this was the culmination of kind of the first week to 10 days of camp. They do it every year. It used to be an international break, so you'd have more guys coming back from Europe. But right now, it's kind of solely focusing around players that are out of contract or coming out of the new year in MLS or Liga MX. So guys that are getting ready for training camp right now. So you don't have your Pulisics, you don't have your Yedlings, you don't have you don't have a lot of star power. So results of the game, we drew Serbia 0-0 and had a slew of chances like every U.S. soccer team does. It didn't find the back of the net. But the Serbia team fielded an entire team of players from the Serbian First Division, which I don't know about you, but I can't name a team in the Serbia First Division. So,
no, I didn't. I guess they have their own league.
Yeah, right. I mean, you can only imagine the players that were on that field, and they had a total of 5 career appearances as a team. So we're looking at like total.
Oh no.
Yeah, total. So we're looking at a team of basically noobs at the international stage. So as I get into kind of talking about the notables here, it's going to sound even more disappointing with the 0-0 draw, knowing that we literally played a team with 5 guys that had experience.
That's disheartening.
Yeah, I mean, they
was it just like a big middle finger, like to the U.S. national team from Serbia, or were they legitimately just saying, "Screw it, we've really got nothing on the line here. Let's see what the kids look like"?
Well, it wasn't a middle finger at all because a lot of those guys, a lot of the Serbian internationals are playing in Europe, so they weren't released to come.
Oh, right.
So we fielded an MLS roster. And a couple of guys that are out of contract that kind of coming back into the fold. But it by no means was like a screw you, we're sending our B squad kind of thing. And it was a chance for them to get a look at some younger players. But there were some good players in that team. But as far as the match goes, this is the first match for Bruce Arena. The winningest coach in U.S. soccer history, took us the first in a World Cup. Run down the list of his notables. But it was also the 100th career cap for Josie Altidore, and it was kind of a steaming turd for him. It was your typical frustrating Josie game, and we did find out that he scores a goal every 2 games, and this is the first time in his career that he has not scored in the second game coming off.
Like on schedule.
Yeah, so as everyone knows with Josie, it's like he's either on or off. And when he's off, it's kind of hard to watch, and he gets real frustrated, gets sent off. Didn't get sent off in this one, but didn't play very well. The rebuilding is going to need to happen quicker, and it won't start with a player like Chad Marshall as your center back or Graham Zusi as your right back.
It's a weird choice.
A slew of other things. Chad Marshall hasn't played with the U.S. team since 2006 when Bruce Arena was in charge, so I hope there's no nepotism there because he looked so old. Like, guys just running straight past him. And Graham Zusi didn't do bad at right back, but he's not your right back that you're going to try out against Germany or, the Netherlands or even like an England or even like a Mexico. He's a winger. He's a winger. Yeah. I don't know what they were doing there. So we clearly missed the European players. And we also saw that Jones and Bradley, we might be at the time, definitely the time for Jones, but maybe at the time for Bradley to kind of move aside and make room for some new players in that role of defensive center mid. It was very hard to watch them both play, and in particular, Jones just kind of looked like he really didn't give a shit. He was just kind of trotting around and not coming back on defense and not really working hard. We also saw the return of Darlington Nagbe, who we know that with Jurgen was kind of a cast aside. And for whatever reasons, they didn't like each other. But he was legit. He was probably the only bright spot.
Yeah, he's good.
He is good. So it was a bright spot there. Also, young Jordan Morris was way more dangerous than Josie was when he was alone up top in the one forward system. More dynamic, better runs. Didn't get himself in many scoring opportunities, but he looked dangerous when he did. And then Nick Raimondo in the net, he might possibly be our best goalie right now as a whole. So that's talking through the Croppers, that's talking through Friedel, or not Friedel. Yeah, he's better than Friedel right now. Guzan and Timmy Howard, he looked really good, and he faced a lot of shots. So maybe something to look at when we start getting back into the Hex. Also,
that was always kind of a thing. Was he was almost like a third or fourth stringer even, and we were kind of waiting for him to step up. And now it's just a matter of these dudes are aging out and their performance is dropping off, and he's got to step up.
And he's not a spring chicken either by any means. So, but he looked good. I mean, you can tell he was in form. Faced a lot of shots in the MLS, and and he's a walking shutout in the MLS. So, no matter what level you're playing at, when you're stopping the ball from going in the goal, that's a good thing, especially if you're a goalie. And then lastly, return to a few familiars. Greg Garza was back after a year-long injury that he had to his knee. He looked fairly good on the wing, playing a left back. Definitely something maybe we could look forward to as we get into the hexagonal. Benny Feilhaber came back into the mix. Everybody who follows U.S. soccer knows him. We mentioned Darlington Nagbe's back in, and then Juan Agudelo was back in the mix. So, all in all, it wasn't fun to watch. I watched it with a friend of mine, and we were like, man, I'd rather be on my phone looking at Twitter right now than watching this game. But we'll see. It was a friendly, so I would have expected more out of Bruce Arena, kind of being your first game back. Like, let's blow the doors off of a team that now I know is coming in with 5 career appearances collectively. So, anyways, we played Jamaica on Friday in our last friendly, and I really do hope it gets better. If I were any of those guys in the system, I should be using this time to step up and take a hold of a chance to make the team to battle the A squad when they get back, and we just really didn't see it outside of a few bright spots.
It's funny because that's this this reemergence of Darlington Nagbe and Jordan Morris stepping up and some of these other guys that have the time to show up and play and are challenging. It's almost like Jurgen was right that like we kind of need these dudes to play in Europe. We kind of need these guys that are playing at that high level to really compete internationally. And yeah, there's a few guys like Morris or Nagbe that can step up and fill some holes, but we're not going to get a team out of MLS players.
Right. Yeah. We could. It happened.
It won't be competitive.
It happened when Bruce was in charge last time. So like I said, hopefully the nepotism doesn't kick in and he trots out Landon Donovan out of retirement and things along those lines.
God.
But anyways, enough about that.
That'd be off. So John, today was a big day for Minnesota, and the reason is that Minnesota United played their first preseason friendly, the first ever MLS preseason friendly for Minnesota United, and it went pretty much as normal as you'd expect. Just a total exhibition game. It meant nothing and, turned out to be a 1-1 draw, so nothing came out of it. But we got to – here's the thing is mostly it was like last year's guys, so we got to get a look, if you were there or if you somehow saw it, you got to get a look at our buddies, Venegas and Davis, and we even got a look at Don Londy, the golden boy, and that new guy from Navy, which is pretty cool, and then a bunch of other guys that I'd never heard of. So a bunch of trialists. You're talking
about Sauerbrunn, right? From Navy? Or Greenspan?
Greenspan.
Yeah.
Greenspan,
Alan Greenspan?
Yep. Alan Greenspan, yep. Smart man, great at soccer. And we got to get a look at a couple of our goalkeeper possibilities. First of all, this Alvbaj, or Alvbagi, or however you say it, and he's pretty good. He saved a penalty kick. He saved a PK, man, which is rare. But then there's the mass sub, and 100% of the team swapped out at about 30 minutes. So you only saw these dudes for 30 minutes, and then the quick score. So Ramirez hits the post, and it's headed home by something named Starikov. For our lone goal. I'm going to assume that guy's a trialist too because he's not on the roster online. Then the New England scored to knot it up and the game ended in a draw. So with no video, no highlights, and super light, disappointing Twitter coverage, it's really hard to know how these Minnesota United guys really looked. Probably, like I said, fine, acceptably. It's basically spring training. It's basically spring training baseball where you're trotting up the guys with the real high numbers to see how they do. The 99s and the 88s.
Right, exactly. And I think, you mentioned it when you started that it was a lot of bubble and free agent heavy to start.
Yeah, a lot of trialists it seemed like, and there were the dudes that we pulled the guy from Portland and couple of our expansion draft picks that probably shouldn't be on the team, like Warner.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a friendly, it's the first one. We got to cover it because it is, but it really is. It's no indicator of how they're going to play once the official whistle blows.
No, I think really I want to bring it up to mention that hopefully in the future Minnesota United has some better Twitter coverage because really it was all the replies on Twitter, anyone that was watching the feed were pretty much all saying the same thing, hey, you guys are alive. We'd like more news, please. How's the game going? What's happening? Because it was pretty sparse. But anyway, that's not really the big MLS news today. The big MLS news is this expansion. The expansion deadline has come and gone, and 12 teams have thrown their hat into the ring to be an expansion team in the future for the MLS, which I think is crazy. 12 teams want to join the MLS.
But they're bringing in two, right?
Really 12 markets. Yeah, they're going to bring in two. So the league
it caps, right? That's the no more.
For now, right? You think after those two, they're not going to say 4 more in the next 4 years? Come on.
They do whatever they want anyways, so who knows?
It's if as long as you've got the millions of dollars to buy your way into the MLS, why wouldn't they let you? And I'll talk about that later. So the league, the acknowledgement that ownership groups from these markets have publicly expressed interest in the expansion team are Charlotte, Cincinnati, Detroit, and you flipped out because you thought it was Detroit City FC or whatever.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit.
Nashville, Raleigh-Durham area, Sacramento, St. Louis, San Antonio, which would be kind of cool, San Diego, and Tampa, St. Petersburg, and then the Indy 11 want to join, and then Phoenix, a team from Phoenix. So really, the only team is like, our old friends, the Indy 11.
I mean, there's, to add a little bit of flavor to this, Cincinnati draws close to 10,000 people in the USL. So
yep.
they're coached by John Harkes, who is a name that kind of transcends across all soccer. Everyone knows who he is from his time with the U.S. national team and playing abroad. Then you have St. Louis, another team out of the USL, who recently was told that they won't get funding for a stadium. So as we get into kind of the qualifications, they're almost already out.
Wait, so this is kind of the confusing part, and this is kind of where you get tied up, is that some of these teams are the supporter team, like the big time teams that we know about, like Cincinnati, like St. Louis, teams that we're familiar with as having a pretty good fan base, and that's where the Detroit confusion came in, right?
Right. Well, yeah, and then I read the article about Detroit, and I was like, those guys, come on, like. They talk about we're local and we're 100%, like we're never going to MLS, and then it's like, oh, and Detroit's in it, and I'm thinking, I immediately went to like totally talking out of both sides of your mouth, right? And then I read an article about it out of the Detroit Free Press, and it looks like it's the Pistons owner who is leading the charge, right? So
yeah.
He's the one who's gonna splash the cash. And then I get further down in the article, and then it's like, oh, and then the guy from Detroit City weighs in about how he's been in constant communication with them. And you're like, okay, So is it they're going to go in together? Is it a case like we are, where an NPSL team is in the backyard of an MLS franchise? And listening to people talk out of that neck of the woods, they say, it'd be great to have MLS in Michigan. We know for a fact from the teams we've come across, how many teams are already in Michigan? Like, a ton of teams are in Michigan. So, and I've always said, like, you're kidding yourself if you think that you're not going to lose fan base in a MLS market, because we do. There's many people who cross over, but there's another equal or greater faction of people who have no idea who we are and want nothing to do with us because they don't know who we are. So that Detroit thing kind of threw me for a loop a little bit. And then seeing that Peter Wiltzold bros in Indy, not really good product on the field. I mean, they did win, I believe they did win one of the, I think it was the spring season.
They won one of the half seasons.
They won one of the half seasons in 2 years, which is good. But outside of that, not really the best product on the field, but had the fan base. So, and then you look at someone like Nashville or Raleigh-Durham or Charlotte, and you're like, well, okay, so they have teams like us. Are they thinking that they can make that jump? Like, are they going to compete with an LA Galaxy?
Yeah, or are these just all going to be like brand new bankrolled teams?
Right. It's like, I got enough money, now I get a team, and you
I get a free, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Billionaires get teams.
Right.
So,
one quick thing, I saw someone on Twitter said, you know how to quickly become a millionaire in soccer? Be a billionaire that buys a team.
Yeah. Well, that's no shit. So, like, they only really need three things from these qualified applicants, right? You need an ownership structure with their financial information. So you need the billionaires.
Yep.
You need a stadium, which is, of course, details on this proposed site with financing, approval, support. Like you said, St. Louis's support has since fallen through, so they're probably out. And then you need someone to take a look and, like, show that you're going to make money, right? That you're going to have corporate support and sponsorships, that you're going to have a fan base support. You really need a business plan. This is basically like college level shit here, man. You need like you need a business plan. You need a SWOT analysis. Like you need to get your college junior economics major kid to put something together for you. And that's pretty much it. And then they'll take your application into under advice. But let me tell you what this feels like and how it lines up with some stuff that I've read. So, like, some of the restaurants that I worked at, like, I came up after college working for a restaurant chain in town that has since folded. And I'll tell you why they folded. Is because you have one location, say in Bloomington, that's just gangbusters, and everyone goes and everyone loves it, and you start making money hand over fist, and you say, hey, we've got a pretty sweet thing going here. Let's buy another location. or let's find another place. And you open that place up, and it starts out kind of gangbusters, but then it kind of fades. It starts fading, right? So we're talking like, then you're thinking, well, we gotta make that money up, and we had great success when we opened a new location. Let's open another location. And what happens? You start kind of like pad hopping, right, from lily pad to lily pad. And I feel like this is the danger that MLS teams are going to get in, because you've already got teams that are like, the Columbus Crew or something that's like not really that competitive. Probably the fan base is waning. There's not a huge amount of money getting made there. So what does the MLS do? Well, let's get the hype up and get some more money out of some billionaires in Sacramento, or let's see if some chump in Minneapolis wants to give us some money, and in 5 years when their team fails or whoever, then we'll have a new team, the second team in LA or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, does this feel like what's happening?
I mean, I don't think you could have come up with a better analogy. I mean, it's not like a McDonald's franchise where you put one in a bad neighborhood and you still do well, right? Because
no, it's like if you've got a successful sports bar, it's not going to work everywhere. Right, you got to accept it.
Like, no one's bringing the world of beer to Salt Lake City, right? Like, it's not a good idea. But I think the main thing is, like, I mean, do you have the soccer fans in Nashville? You have fans of other soccer teams in Nashville, but can they rally around a team there? Is there?
You have 10,000 soccer fans a week,
right?
Or 20,000 a week. Yeah. If you're doing two games a week, like we might have to.
Right, exactly. And then you look at, can you do it in Indianapolis? You can. So then you think like, okay, well, Nashville might be better than Indianapolis as a city.
Yeah.
So let's try it there. And then, then you look at St. Louis, which is a huge soccer bed, and they can't get a stadium. So, like, they're probably out. And I look at this list, outside of Cincinnati, Detroit, who showed it with Detroit City in our league, and,
Tampa?
Maybe, no, I mean, not even Tampa. So Detroit, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis are the only ones on this list that I see succeeding. And you're already cutting one because they don't have a stadium. You can cut Detroit because maybe they don't want to have two competing things, even though they're at different levels. It just is. It seems messy to me that why do we keep expanding when we could just introduce everyone's favorite topic and have promotion relegation, where you're guaranteed buzz in Nashville if their Division II team wins the league and gets promoted.
Yeah.
You're not you're guaranteed it in San Diego maybe, and I just don't know, man. It just seems weird to me, and hopefully they make the right decisions and they do well, because it's just run like on no other soccer league in America, and it's just kind of like head pounding why it is what it is.
Yeah. So enough about them, John. Let's talk about us, man. So the NPSL North Twitter account tweeted out a post this week about some blog called the NPSL Northerner, and that they had put out power rankings for all the NPSL North teams in anticipation of this season. Did you read that?
I did read it. It was sent to me by someone from out of state, actually. It said, like, hey, did you know this was happening? And I was like, I had no clue it was happening.
Who writes that? I was looking all over the blog for like an author byline or anything. There's nothing. There's no About Us. The About Us page is down. So some mysterious person somewhere decided that we're going into the season the number one most powerful team in the NPSL North. And I agree. Based on roster strength and brought about, of course, from savvy signings.
Thank you.
Great work, John, and strong returning players. We just couldn't really. There's no one else that really could compete. Did you see the prediction, John, for our conference-winning side for the roster they had for us?
Yeah, I did. And it was funny, too, because they're like, of the people we know of, here's the starting 11.
Yeah, it's like whoever wrote this has seen these people play.
Right. They've seen them play, and they've also, if you looked at everyone else, we had like 5 paragraphs, and everyone else had like 1.
Well, yeah.
And it was like we were... Whether we're the best team or not, we clearly we're the bedrock of the division. Whether people either want to see us win, which is why we're ranked number 1 in the beginning, or they want to see us lose, which is what the bottom of the article was about in our portion, was like, they have to prove it. Well, no shit, we have to prove it, because we know who we are, we know what we are in the division, so Yeah, there's a huge target on our back because we created one.
So whoever this person is puts Timmy Wills up top and Whitney and Goose as kind of the other forwards, the left and right forward, and then they've got a midfield of Wexler in the mid, backed up by Coleman and Steve as the CDMs. It feels a little conservative to run kind of two CDMs for our system, but whatever. Coleman can always move up. And then the back, yeah, he can pretty much just float. And then the back line this guy has is Miles, who we're going to talk to later, AJ, Nate Engel, and AO, Aaron Olson. And of course, he said this doesn't even include the guy from Tampa Bay because, like you said, he hasn't seen him play, and so why would he put him in the article? I don't know. Anyway, it feels strange.
But then you're wondering, like, he says he hasn't seen him play, but he talks a lot about, like, this guy played for Minnesota United Reserves, and that guy played. So clearly he's all.
So he's a local dude. So he's obviously hasn't seen anyone from Tampa Bay play in person, but I think he's definitely local. Mm-hmm. And there's some other highlights that I kind of want to go over, which is some interesting stuff. He notes that in the VSLT section, which are the Hispanic team, he ranks them number 2, and he says they're rumored to have signed our friend Javi Alcantara from Minnesota United Reserves. Remember that guy with the hair?
Yeah.
And Rodrigo Galvan from the reserves. So that's kind of a interesting. That's interesting that they went after some of those dudes. And then he's got the Twin Stars at number 3. I didn't know this, but our old friend Tim Singleton is their new GM.
Yeah. So to kind of go back to VSLT, Juan, who runs our team, I had the pleasure of meeting him through Men's League in town, and really great guy. He was actually on the Twin Stars team that went to the national finals of the old MPLS.
Oh.
And he's a good recruiter. He's a good soccer mind. And I think that them being placed in the top half is very much so true. I mean, you get a guy like Javi and Rodrigo. They're good players, you know. But, I mean, I don't know what they're going to put together as a complete team. And are they going to do well when they have to travel to La Crosse on a Wednesday and then Fargo on a Sunday or Saturday? Like, how's that going to work for them? You know, like, do they have the depth that we do that can cover that, or are they going to be a team that maybe wins a couple games early and then just falls apart because of commitment level, which is what they talked about the Twin Stars having, that they typically are stronger in the beginning of the year and then everyone kind of gives up on them, but. Speaking of Twin Stars, talking about Tim, I did know they hired Tim as their general manager, which is interesting because you start seeing the same kind of things popping up. You know, all of a sudden after 5+ years, their Twitter account gets active and it has an attitude a lot like ours. And you start seeing that they're looking to bring in a reserve team, and like looks very familiar. So
yeah.
So I did know that for sure.
One thing I did like is that they have Duluth at number 4, and it sounds like, based on what they said, it sounds like Duluth might have a solid poacher, kind of a goal poacher, really. But we were recognized for having poached their best player in Joey.
It was also too like. It was funny, too, because as you're reading through the article, it's like they're still kind of talking about us when they're talking about other teams.
Yeah. Well, it's inevitable, too. Like, basically, it's will this team come close to competing with number 1?
Right. And with Duluth, they're like, if I were them, I'd sign Tom Corcoran right now before he goes to Minneapolis because he played with them in the Open Cup. And then it was Kyle Farrar, their forward, he was actually he came down for our winter training. He actually was going to be joining us for the U.S. Open Cup. So when we could expand the roster, but we still don't know what we're doing in the Open Cup. So that may have waned. But you look at them and they're like, oh, we're good too. It's like, yeah, I know you're good players. Want to play with us.
And then all the way down from then on, it's just all speculation because it's all new teams. It's all teams that are fresh and or rebooted. And then you've got at the bottom Eris, who is, of course, a winless team last year, who hasn't tweeted in almost 1,000 days. So they deserve their spot at the bottom, and I'd be surprised if they showed up.
Did you see #Mitch got a shout out in there?
I did. I saw that at first, and that's kind of why I thought that maybe he wrote it and that it's his blog. But I don't know. I loved that was the tweet they pulled out about Eris, and then they showed that the Eris Spartan logo or something. is like from an old video game that someone just copied out with Photoshop and slapped on a yellow Wisconsin.
Let's be
But
honest.
that's it.
It wasn't Photoshop. It was definitely MS Paint.
Yeah, no shit. But that's it, man. Like, any bit of city news is worth jumping on for me, even if we're just casting bones and reading tea leaves at this point, like a couple of warlocks.
We're at a half hour on the mark here, and then you finally got nerdy. So we're getting better.
It took a while. I'm glad I got to bring in Warlock to this.
We're getting better. All right, well, we have the luxury to once again have a player in for a nice little chat. This time we had the opportunity to do it remotely, as life kind of got in the way, so we will not be in studio. I am pleased to welcome one of our newcomers, a household name if you are a soccer fan in the area, Mr. Miles Stockman-Wills. What's going on, Miles? Thanks for hopping on the air with us.
Hey, John, thanks for having me on, and thank you for that introduction. It brings a smile to my face.
Awesome. So, for the record, it's Willis, correct? It
Yes.
Isn't like a reverse thing with like Timmy where we call him Willis, but his name is actually Wills?
I don't know. Maybe Timmy's name just has a smaller I for the second one. You just can't see it. His last name's Willis, too. So
When we had him on last week, he said it was okay if we called him Willis. So I'm just gonna kind of whatever comes to mind, either it's Wills or Willis.
I like it. Me and Timmy like brothers. So
Okay, so before we talk about City and your kind of post-college background, I did want to dive into college soccer a little bit. So you started at NIU, and after a year you transferred to St. Thomas. What was kind of the thinking behind the move, and what kind of made that all happen?
well, I ran into some issues with my first coach at Northern Illinois, and just style of play and personnel, and just I felt he didn't really care for the development of players. So I decided to, get out of there and try my luck somewhere else. And, I was coached by Lowry during the 16-17 and 17-18 academy with MTA. So we have common ground and understanding, and he, knows the way I like to play, and I know the way he likes to play. So that tied along with, home connections with my family being in town and just friends being in town. It was a good decision to make.
So would you say that the move to Division III is something that you'd recommend for guys that maybe have a similar situation to you where, whether it's they're trying to look for more minutes, if you're kind of riding the bench maybe, or they're playing at like a lower level D1 or maybe even D2 school where like soccer maybe isn't the focus, and kind of coming home can kind of be a shot of life into a player?
I think obviously I recommend change, and change can be good and change can be bad. So if you're coming from the D1 level to the D3 level, like I did, it's an opportunity to show why you were offered that D1 spot, So I don't think it's a suggested route. I think my best piece of advice would actually be to say, don't count out the D3 schools first. So,
Sure.
Upon recruiting process, if you're a big time player, or you have big time goals, D3 could be a route to get there. So don't, discredit universities and coaches looking out for you because it doesn't have that D1 in front of it. Just a prime example, I was throwing away D3 letters in my recruiting process. And one of the schools that was kind of on my ass a little bit was Amherst University. And, the coach reached out multiple times, and I got back to him saying I wanted to play D1. And it turns out my senior year at St. Thomas, they won the national championship against Loras. So, there's multiple ways to get there. So that'd be my advice.
That's a good kind of piece of advice. I think, like you said, you find people that kind of look down on Division III soccer, and yeah, it has its negatives. If you're someone who maybe has straight pro aspirations, and you're maybe in like a development academy like the Columbus Crew Academy, where you're solely built for becoming a pro, and you go to a Division III school, you might be behind the eight ball then. So no, that's good. So clearly, it was a great move for you. As was our last week's guest, Timmy. You did quite well for yourself while you were there. Before you were there, I'm gonna go through some humbling stats here about you. So So first off, before you went into college out of high school, you were ESPN High School Soccer Minnesota Starting 11 in 2012. You were a two-time Minnesota All-State High School Soccer team member, 11 and 12. You were a top drawer soccer 7th best player in the Midwest region. And then moving into college, after you made your move to St. Thomas, in 2013, you were the team rookie of the year. You were the most valuable player that year. You were all-conference in the MIAC in 2013 and a 3-time MIAC Player of the Week. You had 8 game-winning goals in your career and finished your career with 71 points on 56 appearances. So much like I kind of talked about with Timmy last week was, I think, the 8 game-winning goals in a career. I mean, anytime you have game-winning goals, that's a big deal. And having anything more than a small handful is pretty spectacular because you're solely responsible for the W column. I think that's pretty awesome. Are there any of those that kind of stand out to you?
Well, thank you for reading the accolades and all that. There's much more work to be done, but I would say I honestly can't remember a standout game-winning goal. I can remember a game-tying goal that was pretty memorable. In my sophomore year against Oshkosh, UW Oshkosh, and they hadn't conceded a goal all season until we played them, and it was a 30-yard free kick, and I just, tried my luck and put my foot through it, and it ended up being one of my best goals in my career so far. So I would say that definitely stands out to me at my St. Thomas career. I unfortunately can't remember too many game winners.
I remember seeing that one on your recruiting tape. Actually, that was a pretty nice one. So now that we know a little bit about your college career, let's talk post-college. We know that you were with United Reserves, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But can you tell us maybe a little bit more about what you did in the summers while you were both at school and then once you graduated?
Yeah, definitely. I linked up with a D2 men's team, Shango, go Shango, and I guest played on D1 team Cougars and sometimes Stegmans, but mainly Cougars and Shango, and played in the classic Monday night leagues too in the fall and winter. But yeah, just trying to stay fit, whether it was captain's practices, men's games with Shango. It's all about getting more games and more training and consistent training underneath your belt. So I would say a lot of my work, other than playing in games with teams, was by myself, just in the racquetball courts at Bielenberg out in the grass, just trying to stay fit, running, biking, and just, having that, just encouraging that lifestyle of just, being fit and trying to do the best that you can do every time.
So you didn't do anything amateur outside of just MASL. So there was no stint with the Twin Stars or anything like that, or out of state?
Nope, definitely not. So the reserves was definitely a bigger first step for me post college, and then obviously with Minneapolis City now in the MPSL, I feel this is a very big challenge for me personally and collectively for us to make a statement.
Sure. It's almost like you're reading my notes here. So now on to United Reserves. So they're obviously a little bit different than what we are, being that they're below a top tier. They're right below a top tier in an organization, and we're kind of the top tier of our organization. So what was it like when you were there, and was it really a way to find an opportunity to get a look at for the first team?
Yeah, it was definitely a humbling experience. I definitely feel blessed and very happy to get as many call-ups as I did to the first team to really see what's going on within a high-profile, high-buzz franchise. Whether the sport be baseball, basketball, soccer, it's certainly an experience to see how all the personnel interactions happen, whether it's the trainer to the coach or the coach to the players to the front of house. It's just really good to be involved in all those interactions. I definitely became more hungry seeing that next level, and it was good to see the guys making it happen, for them and for their families, and making their dreams come true. And it's very exciting that I was very close to making that next step.
So what kind of, you mentioned kind of call-ups, what kind of training and game day benefits did you guys enjoy as a reserve team member?
Always having eyes on us, whether it's the reserve coaches or just trainers or even the managers walking around the reserve team practices. You never know who's looking or who's in your corner, and vouching for you. So definitely being closely involved with the first team and having first team access. Plus, the catered food is nice after the training. Is nice. And on top of that, just the personal conversations with the players, because, even though they're pros, they're still on their personal journey, whether that they be on loan from another club and that they can't find their foot in, or, they're just looking to develop. So it's definitely good to pick the brains of people at different stages of their journey.
Sure. All right. So enough about those guys. So as we know, you were on the U.S. Open Cup roster, and I know how you got into the mix because I was the one who actually reached out to you about joining. But maybe give us a little bit of a background into what it felt like throughout that whole process leading up to our game.
Wow, it was incredible, to be honest. Just getting consistent training with a good group of guys, good age group, good tenacity. There was a lot of buzz and good energy around just the upcoming sessions. Up until the U.S. Open Cup game, it would have been maybe nice to see a little bit more commitment from some of the guys, but distance and logistics, obviously, in life comes up. But definitely we put some good training and good work in because we knew it was an opportunity we had to take for the state of Minnesota. We definitely could not lose that game. So
no, there was no losing that game. So you played the entire game. What were some of the takeaways from that match? For what it's worth, I thought you played fantastic in that holding midfield role, and just kind of showed your versatility as a player. But maybe first talk about like the game itself.
It was very, very eye-opening and brought a smile to all our faces. Everyone that was involved, from like the fans to the coaching staff and the players. That was a big moment for me personally, to be honest. That was probably my biggest, I would say, game. Walking out with the kids hand in hand, just like the pros, seeing the smiles on the kids' faces, looking up to you like you're, some great guy, some great soccer player when, you're still trying to make your mark. And no, it was very, very heartwarming and very humbling and making me more hungry to experience more of those things. The fans were great, the posters, the songs, but sir, just everything that's involved in the game was magical.
I think the funny thing is that we had a couple hundred people there, but if you look at the analytics, we had a couple thousand people globally watching the stream.
Nice.
So it's like
I didn't know that
you were able to kind of be part of and I'll throw myself in there too. We were able to be part of this thing that was pretty special that not a lot of people can say they've done. Every year amateur teams enter the tournament, but a lot of them don't have the opportunity to win a game, and we did.
Right.
Okay, so now you're on the full-time roster.
Yes, sir.
So you decided to stick with us after the Open Cup. What was behind that decision besides signing a piece of paper that I put in front of you?
That I didn't know was the contract.
You like how I did that?
just taking me. No, it's just a great move, great fit, and I had a great time with the personnel, like we said before, just with everything that's going on with Minneapolis City. And I think it's a great new challenge for me personally, and again, collectively, for us to make a mark and statement. After that long introduction, definitely don't want to stop after college. There's a lot of good college players. There's a lot of good high school players. But, to make a mark at an MPSL level and above takes a little bit more hard work, a little bit more luck, and a little bit more, skill to achieve that. So I'm definitely looking at this summer as a real big opportunity for me to, prove my worth and prove our worth, because I think we have a very good team and we'll be looking to do some damage. So that, coupled along with, being in the state, doing some coaching, doing some side work for money, just, with the fam, grinding. So it's great fit logistically and passionately.
once again, it's like you're reading my script here. Okay, so fast forward a few months from now, what are your expectations for yourself and the team this summer as a whole?
A few months, so after the season, that's a big question. I haven't thought about it too much collectively besides, getting dubs. But if you break it down, I'd like to see us, have a less than one goal or concede less than one goal per game. I think that'd be a great statistic for us, given the offense that I think we can have if we put the work in. Because we're going to score more than one goal a game. I can tell you that. Individually, I'm looking to get on I'm looking to get on the scoreboard, to be honest, and just help the team, whether it's a tackle, hard work, or an assist, a long ball, just any way I can, get my hands on the game to help mold it for our team's favor. It depends what position I'm playing. I definitely would like to get let's say this. Over the course of my career, I've been bounced around from left wing to striker to right back, where I got recruited D1. So I haven't really had and now center defensive mid with Minnesota Reserves and you guys. So I haven't really had a set position per se where, the coach sits me down and says, this is your role for our team. I need you to do this every game. Mm-hmm. So I would say going into the summer, I would maybe just be looking for a little bit more stability positionally, whether that's between one or two. But I'm definitely willing to play every position or any position that I'm needed. But if I'm playing striker, I'm trying to lead the conference in scoring low key. So we'll see.
Well, the nice thing for me is that my job's over once you sign the paperwork. So that's all on Coach Adam to figure out and have those conversations with you about expectations and where you're going to play. So, and as you know, it's with the roster, it's difficult to right. peg down because we have so many different versatile players that are coming in. Right. Whether it's someone like yourself, someone like Charlie Adams who's new to the squad, right. Even if you could throw any number of those guys, Wexler is one of those guys too. So. It'll be interesting to see his game plan. It's not quite built yet. I know he's working on it, and we're gonna get after it soon. So, being a full-time member of City, who from the last year's team that you didn't play with, that was on the roster, are you looking for excited to play with this year?
So who I played against with last summer? Probably my man Wexler, T-Rexosaurus. I just really like the way he plays in the middle, real quick on his feet, real balanced, and likes to play those, more intricate passes sometimes. And me and him, I feel like have really good chemistry in the middle sometimes and good balance. And we've only played minimal clock together. So I would definitely say Wex and maybe even Goose. Goose definitely impressed me. The first time I saw him play was at Donnie's Dome at the 10 Dome at some pickup, and he was doing some pretty ridiculous stuff. And so I was like, this kid is the real deal. So I definitely I'm looking forward to playing with Goose, Wex, and everybody, but definitely those two.
All right, so the other shoe to drop in this question would be, out of the new players that are coming in, who are you interested in playing with this summer?
Oh, that depends positionally and all that, like the game plan. But, Timmy's my man. I got to say he doesn't get the ball enough, I would say, sometimes in the build-up. And so that was one of the positives I felt out of our play in the U.S. Open Cup match was our connection with Timmy and finding his feet and the pockets of space he likes to get into. So if I'm in a deeper role, for sure Timmy. I'm trying to run off Timmy. He set me in for almost a goal in the U.S. Open Cup game, so I'm definitely looking forward to combine with Timmy.
The funny thing is that when we interviewed him last week, he talked about trying to get rid of the ball as soon as he gets it, and you're saying he needs more of it.
Yeah, well, he gets rid of it great. He's always playing that two-touch and looking for the combination, so we just need to get it to him more.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem this year. I think we're going to have plenty of opportunities to feed Timmy up top. Okay, yep. So
wait, hold up. Sorry. Definitely my man Whitney too. Whitney Brown, Minnesota reserve team together. He's definitely gonna be someone to watch this summer. So watch out.
So that again leads into kind of my next question here. So we know you have aspirations of kind of handing in your amateur card and trading in for the pro version, getting on that Topps trading card. So you've gone to some trials with some pro teams, and it can be a hard process as we both know.
Yes, sir.
Do you care to tell us a little bit about kind of that process and your takeaways from it so far?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is not to worry and not to stress about necessarily age and getting in there, when you're young. Obviously, you want to get in when you're young, but, a guy like me, 22, could be slightly older in the soccer world if you haven't made it yet. And, I kind of always have to remind myself that I just graduated college like half a year ago. So, I definitely that patience and confidence in yourself, that the moment will come when it's right. I have to say I haven't really – I've done one open tryout for the Swope Park Rangers for their inaugural season in the USL, and that was an open tryout. And then I just got back a few weeks ago from my first invite trial at Cincinnati. And, it was definitely great. It was good to get out there in front of a legendary coach in U.S. soccer and John Harkes and a guy that's done so much for the U.S. Federation of Soccer as a whole. And, just get good advice and build connections and relationships. And, it's all about who you know. So, and it's all about them getting to know you. Tony Sana was giving me some good advice by saying, it's more than the game. It's the person you are, and it's the guy that you're trying to be or the teammate that you are. So, it's all about the well-rounded package, and everything has to be on point, and timing has to be on point for you to, get that selection. But no, it was definitely good to get out there. There was a couple first-team guys down there, and coming from that experience in Minnesota definitely made me more calm and more aware of, how to play and how to stand out, which is, get it, move it, and to be clean. I'd say the level was good too. As a whole, from the trial list, there was guys from D1, from Iceland, who they actually signed, was a player who had some experience in Iceland. So, it's good. I would say it's definitely a learning process, and it's all about shots on goal, right? So a lot of guys aren't going to, go out to a trial and get picked up the first one. They might have had 71 goals in college, or they might have had all these accomplishments, but, they're not going to get into the team on that first try for whatever reason. So, it's all about the commitment and consistency of keeping yourself fit for when that opportunity comes, and then you take advantage.
Man, this is a pretty easy interview because, like I keep saying, you're going right down my rundown sheet here. So, so you and I have kind of talked about this before, and Minneapolis City is by no means in the business of stunting players' growth. Whether it's guys in college who, in our eyes, I say it loosely, aren't good enough to be on the team. But they are. They're just not maybe going to supplant someone who's already on the roster because of maybe chemistry. And like you said, it just has to be the right time.
Right.
So when we look at a player like yourself, how can City help you or others attain your goal of playing at the next level?
Definitely. I've already seen major leaps from last year and even a couple of months ago before the U.S. Open Cup game to now, just structurally, organizationally, at the core of it, making it more official, trying to get more out of the players, more commitment out of the players. I definitely feel like consistency of training is a big factor because, as you know, Minnesota is only snow-free a certain amount of time.
Right.
So, when the snow's not there, it's real important to get consistent training and good form. And just really play 3, 4, 5 times a week, and that plus the rigorousness of our campaign is going to require a lot of depth, and so everyone's got to be ready, and so everyone's got to be at practice. And I think just the amount of training we get in as a team individually, the better for us going forward.
We like to call Minneapolis City professionally amateur, where we're taking, whether it's guys out of college or even some high school players or folks in your boot camp that have a job or have jobs, that we're giving you that professional style structure that fits within your life.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And that tied along with just the players that are here, the type of personnel that are on our team. We have guys that are hungry and that want to make that jump to the next level. So I think that's just as important as, getting official training and more official structurally, as just having that why, that reason of we want to go pro or we want to make a statement, and that contributes to the overall success of, climbing the ladder going forward.
Right, and I think it also speaks to the system that someone like Brian Coleman is. He's not done playing, and you saw him at our winter our winter camp. Like, he can still ball, and he wants it just as much as a guy in college does.
Yeah, that was great to see.
But he's legitimately a pro soccer player.
Right.
It's like, and he's willing to come connect himself to us, whether it be the stuff we do off the field or whether it be the stuff we do on the field. So it's kind of a testament to what we started last year and kind of continue to grow. All right, well, that's it for the easy questions. So now on to the famous speed round. So this is the Lupient Automotive Speed Round. Have the crappy Minnesota roads taken a toll on your car this winter? If so, go get a new one. Seriously, go get a new one today. Lupient Automotive has dealerships from Kia to Infiniti that for sure has the car better than your current one. For more information, visit any of the Golden Valley locations or lupient.com if you haven't done so already. Hop in the car or turn around right after you stop listening to this and treat yourself. All right, so here's how the speed round works. I have 10 questions. You must finish the question before I go to the next one.
All right.
I ask everyone, do you need some water? Do you need a stretch? Are you ready to go?
I'm always ready.
All right. So the first question, name 3 famous Tommies.
Oh, yeah. Dave Simmet, Michael Alata, Miles Stockman-Willis.
See, I thought you were going to be go with people named Tom. So I see what you did there. All right. So number 2, what's your favorite soccer number and why?
17. That's always been the family's numbers. My dad's numbers, my aunt's number. So it's my number, and hopefully I get that number this year.
It's on the list. I think you got a good shot at it, from what I can tell.
All right.
So number 3, you talk about your relationship at St. Thomas with Coach Lowry. What's one of the things that he's helped you with or said to you that's made you a better player?
Just being one of the guys that's in my corner and really believing in me and telling me I can do it if I continue to put my heart into it and soul into it. Lowry's always just been looking out for me and wants to see me succeed. He helped me in my recruiting process to D1 and D3, and he actually was the one that helped me link up with Cincinnati. So it's always great to have someone with his connections in your corner, and he's a great dude and great family man on top of it.
For sure. So we asked Timmy the same question, but you get it too. If you could give yourself a nickname, what would it be?
Well, what if you already have a nickname?
I mean, you can continue to give it to yourself if you want.
Miles. So that's you can call me Miles. I would love a sign with Miles on it.
Well, I know people in the supporter section listen to this, so take note. Make that tifo. Timmy went with he was called One Speed back in high school.
One Speed.
All right, number 5. True or false? You currently own soccer shoes designed by the one and only Kanye West.
Oh, true. Very flagrant footwear. I was gonna bring them out for the U.S. Open Cup game, but I feel like they would have got too much publicity over the game, and so
probably would have given you some wicked blisters too.
Yeah.
All right, so follow-up question. Outside of those, what's the favorite soccer shoe for Malaise? What have you worn that is like the butter on your feet?
I don't know. It's all about the margarine, the right margarine. I've been always Team Adidas, low key growing up. I always had the Adipures and the Predators growing up. Predators, Adipures, and then recently I've been on the Superfly Nike. They feel amazing on the feet, and they kind of fit my personality on the field too. So those are the shoes for me. I'm about to send my cleats in soon and get some new ones for the summer. So
I think you just coined yourself a new nickname, Superfly.
oh.
I love how that works out. Okay, number 7. We give everyone one of these. Would you rather live forever and never get older, or be able to die tomorrow and come back as whatever you want?
Could I die the next day after I became whatever I want?
Nope. You only get one shot at dying.
Only one shot at dying? Then I would choose option A for sure.
To live forever and never get older. All right,
Yes,
I like
sir.
that. All right, so name your favorite Bruce Willis movie.
The classic. What is it? With Santa Claus in the elevator. Isn't that Bruce Willis?
It is.
Die Hard.
Die Hard. There you go. There you go. All right, number 9. What is your go-to goal celebration?
Oh, I mean, I do have an authentic Miles celebration that I did at college. It's probably that one. It's kind of the mix of, I don't know, the stirage and the whip. I don't know, and the dab. So hopefully to see it this season.
Yeah, we'll have to see it this summer. All right, and the last one. When you're not playing soccer, what occupies your time off the pitch?
A lot of coaching. Got to give back to the youth, and they inspire me and give me new ways to think about the game too. And definitely doing some art and music on the side. I just got done with my first live stream.
Oh, nice.
With some new artwork. And then, sharpening the game. There's no days off. I don't own pajamas. So if I'm not on the pitch, I'm thinking about the pitch in some way. So.
Well, if you're like any other soccer player, you wear your shorts to bed.
Oh, of course. I sleep in the Kanye cleats. Come on.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on to talk to us, Miles. I know from coaching you in the Open Cup, we'd be blessed if we had more players with the drive that you have, and not just to be the best, but to win some games. And we really appreciate you coming on, and definitely good luck this season with the Crows.
No, thank you for having me. It's the first podcast Cherry taken, and I'm very, very motivated for our squad. I think our squad is going to do some damage, so I'm real excited.
All right, man. Well, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you out on the field.
All right. Thanks, John. Have a good night.
Yeah, bye. All right, so we have some little open trial news to talk about. We still have some spots available. They're still free on the team. Do you or someone you know have what it takes to play ball with our good old friend Miles we just finished talking to? The roster is starting to fill up. So do yourself a favor and see if you or someone you know is one of the lucky ones to join the roster. We're looking for help to make the roster complete and definitely have those position battles at every spot. So this is your last chance to impress folks. So we're only going to mention it a few more times. Spots are filling up for the trials. So definitely, like I said, you or someone you know, if you're interested in showing what you got, definitely go online and check us out today.
That's right. It's going to take place March 2nd. From 9:30 p.m. till 11:30 p.m. You want to make sure to get there at least 20 minutes early for check-in and whatnot. And it's going to cost $75, which is pretty standard how these things work. And it's over at the West St. Paul Sports Dome, 1655 Livingston Avenue, West St. Paul, Minnesota. That's right by Menards and Carboni's. Beautiful neighborhood.
Well, that's all we got today, folks. We had a little rousing interview with Miles. We had some banter talk about a weird blog that popped up. But have you tried the new Summit Double IPA and its smooth hop bitterness and the brand new Summit Indian Style Black Ale? Nate, have you tried those?
No, but I've heard and read great things about this, the Black IPA. It's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah, it's a black ale with it's spicy. It has citrus forward hops and roasted malts. Definitely yummy. So don't be a dummy. These are the bomb suds. Go get yourself some today. Maybe even on your way home from that Lupient Automotive dealership where you just bought your car. Treat yourself.
Drink and drive early in your car.
Start early. Memberships for 2017 are now on sale. As always, if you missed out the boat on the deal we had, doesn't mean you can't go online and get yours today. $60 gets you a season ticket pass. a little fancy new membership scarf and the opportunity to make what we created your own. And of course, so much soccer this summer. Nate, nothing
What?
really gets better than helping others, right?
Right.
Not sure if you knew this, Nate, or anyone listening, but Minneapolis City likes to help others. If you're looking to align yourselves with a fine group of people that loves to give back, you are in luck, friends. Minneapolis City is a registered 501c3 that does good on and off the pitch by providing those less fortunate a safe, reliable place to play the beautiful game. If you want to get a hold of us, you can do so by emailing us at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. You can flip us a note on Twitter, slide into them DMs at MPLSCitySC. You can hit me up at Johnny Business, that's 2 N's, 2 Z's, 2 S's, or Nate at Mexinate. That is
Hey, wait. If you're the guy or the girl that writes the NPLSL Northerner blog, you should hit us up. We'd love to know who you are and chat as the season goes on.
Yeah, it'd be great to have those folks on. We're considering having some of the media members that cover us on, so we can kind of get their perspective on things. But that's all we have for this week. We'll be back with more discussion around your favorite MPLS team next week. We do, we really appreciate it if you would talk to us. We ask always, and you never get back to us. So please reach out to us. Let us know what you want to hear. We will say it if you want to hear it. But we will be continuing to talk city things and discuss soccer and fashion with Dustin Brandon of Talisman Caps. This time, we promise.
Promise.
So that's all for today. Once again, it was a pleasure to serve you. I am John. That is Nate. And these guys are house band Go Get 'Em Tiger singing you away. Goodbye.
Adios.
You guys hope.